All right, before we get started, welcome to the show, everybody. This is a one guy with the mic, dingers and dunks, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the NBA season and the uh, MLB World Series, and also, of course, it's Football Friday, folks. So we got to have our picks in for the week as well. So that will be happening this in this episode. Also, before we start, thanks again to everybody for dealing with last week's technical issues and getting through that and still downloading the episode. Really appreciate that. Hope you guys enjoyed the 1984 Detroit Tigers episode. If you haven't listened to it, go ahead and go back and listen to it from last week. I might be able to get. I'm thinking about doing an interview, but we'll probably do something small to begin with, and then maybe we could do something bigger after that. So we'll try that as well. Also, want to give you guys a little heads up that we do we are an ambassador for shankitgolf.com. So if you go there and purchase your golf apparel, they got polos, hats, golf towels, golf gloves. Actually, the golf glove I got is I've used it for about 3 weeks now, and it's really good. A really good golf glove that I'm surprised by because I go through a lot of golf clubs real quick. So, and I got a hat and a towel and a glove for like $50. So, when you go there and you go to check out, use the code ONEGUY in the checkout, and you'll get a discount. I think it's like 10 or 15%, but the code is ONEGUY. That's ONEGUY. Oh, now let's get into the randomness of the Major League Baseball playoffs. Yes, that's a Brian Cashman quote that says the playoffs are random, and I am very much a believer of that because of the World Series we have set up this year. We got the D-backs, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Texas Rangers. This is the Diamondbacks' second World Series. The last one coming in 2001 when they beat the New York Yankees in 7 games. For all you Yankees fans out there, I know it's a real heartbreaker with Luis Gonzalez getting a bloop singer over Derek Jeter in order for Jay Bell to score. And then you got on the other side, you got the Texas Rangers, who was in the World Series in 2010 and 2011, and that was when Josh Hamilton was their star player, and they lost to the Giants and lost the Bruce Bochy Giants, by the way, and also lost to the St. Louis Cardinals thanks to David Flippin' Freeze. One's going to get their first World Series championship, and the other is going to not. Or the other one's going to get their second one, I should say. All right. So, now, like I said, nobody picked the D-backs or the Rangers to be in this World Series. In fact, I started in my MLB preview show. I picked the Mariners and the Padres, and we all see how well that turned out. Also, one thing to note on these two teams, this is the first time that both road teams were down 3-2, went back to the host team's house, and won games 6 and 7 on the road. So, which means they're road teams. Also, both teams come into the World Series as wild card teams, with Texas losing the division in the last weekend of the season, thanks to the Houston Astros taking that over, and then Arizona taking the final spot in the NL. They lost their last 4 games of the season and snuck in because the Cubs and the Reds collapsed to hold on to the last 2 spots. So, the last time 2 wildcard teams faced off in the World Series took place back in 2014. Bruce Bochy's Giants versus the Kansas City Royals, and then also the other one was 2002. The Giants, led by Dusty Baker, played against the Anaheim Angels at the time, but now known as the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That took place in 2002. So this is Bruce Bochy's third team to make the World Series, and he's 3-1. His only loss being in 1998 when he was the manager of the Padres, and they lost to that stellar 1998 Yankees team. However, he did win. That Yankees team did win 4 titles in 3 years. Bruce Bochy's Giants won 3 titles in 5 years. Yes, because they won in 10, 12, and 14. And so this is also like I said, the Diamondbacks' first time since 2001, and they've only been in the league since 98, right? No, 93. Came in the league in 93. My bad. So the Diamondbacks are managed by Torey Luvello, and are in their second postseason with him as manager. The other one came in 2017. This is his first World Series as a manager or even as a coach. But in 2004, he did win the Carolina League with the Kinston Indians, and in 2005, he won the Eastern League with the Akron Arrows. So he does have some championship pedigree behind him. And he did manage the Boston Red Sox for 48 games in 2015, but that's when they were in last place. So not much changed in the last 6 years, or 8 years, sorry. Manager-wise, if you take the managers into this, Bruce Bochy has all the experience in the world. So I'm giving a leg up on the managers to Mr. Bochy. Now, Arizona won the NLCS with their pitching in the game 6 and 7. They shut down the trio of Schwarber, Harper, and Turner the last 2 games, and they combined to go 1 for 20. This Arizona staff had a below average ERA with a 4.47 during the season, and in the NLCS it dropped down to a 4.13. So they do give a lot of runs up, and the Rangers offense definitely can take advantage of their mistakes. And the weird thing about that NLCS is that the Phillies had a 2.79 ERA, which makes their loss even crazier to me. But, I mean, they did have the blown saves in games 3 and 4 when Kimbrel forgot how to pitch, who had a 12 ERA, a 12.00 ERA in the NLCS. Meanwhile, the Rangers pitching wasn't better. I mean, they did have, against the Astros, they did have a 4.71 ERA. However, the Astros had a 5.29 ERA. The Rangers' top 2 pitchers have been Jordan Montgomery and Nathan Eovaldi. They are 7-0 combined. The 4 games that they won against Houston, they both pitched. They also have Max Scherzer, and I know he came off injury and didn't really pitch well in games 3. Did he pitch? I'm not sure if he pitched in another game besides 3 or not. But, I mean, Scherzer, if he gets on, and if you can just get 5 innings out of that guy, that should be a win right there. So, then they got Chapman in the back end as a closer. D-backs got Paul Sewald, who converted 30 out of 42 saves this year between the Diamondbacks and the Mariners. So realistically, if you get to their closers, both teams can shut you down. I do like the Rangers pitching staff a little bit better. Batting wise, let's see. Texas has the vets of Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, Nathaniel Lowe have been the best hitters so far. Adolis winning the ALCS MVP. Arizona is coming in with the young guns of Moreno and Carroll. But they are led by Marte and Perduro, and also Pavin Smith as well. So, and Ketel Marte won the NLCS MVP. Arizona has 5 total dingers, had hit 5 total dingers against the Phillies. Meanwhile, Garcia had 5 home runs in the ALCS by himself. So I'm thinking the Diamondbacks isn't necessarily power-wise, right? Let's see. The Rangers had a total of 15 dingers, and they had a 317 on-base percentage. Meanwhile, Arizona had a 294 on-base percentage. So batting-wise, Texas. So what's going to happen here? Well, I think this thing goes 6, maybe 7. I don't think there's not going to be a sweep. I don't think it's done in 5. I think Texas wins this series though. They have hot bats right now. Their pitching is better, and you have Bochy as your manager. I also think the World Series MVP is going to be Corey Seager. I think the guy continues to get hot, continue to stay on track like he had. Garcia stays the way he is, but I think Seager ends up winning your World Series MVP unless, for some reason, Jordan Montgomery or Nathan Eovaldi come in and do a Madison Bumgarner type performance in the World Series where they go 2-0 and a save. So there's your Major League Baseball World Series right there, summed up for you. Next up, we have the NBA season. Now, this is going to be a quick preview. I'm not going to dissect every single team. I don't have time or the effort to do that. So this is going to be basically we're going to take this thing from like 30,000 feet. Okay. We got the Denver Nuggets are your reigning NBA champs. And they came out and beat the Lakers 119-107, that first matchup when they got their rings the other night. And we also found out at the end of that game that LeBron will be load managed for the entire season to around 29 minutes a game. Well, he is also like 38, I think, too. Then you got the revamped Suns beat the Golden State Warriors with Chris Paul at 108-104. Zion is back, and he led the Pelicans to a win. Pacers and Rick Carlisle look to be good this year. Carlisle will get his 900th win. This season. He's only 3 away. I'm guessing he'll get that by a game 7 or 10, somewhere in there. And then Victor Wembanyama, I practiced that name forever. You guys know how bad I am with names. Had his debut of 23 minutes. He had 15 points, 2 assists, and 5 rebounds in that game. Also, you also have the Damian Lillard debut with the Bucks. That's happening. Dame Dollar, and Giannis and Chris Middleton. That team is going to be scary, and we'll get to more on that here in a second. So let's go down the divisions, and let's start with the Atlantic. Boston runs it. Just reign supreme. So the 76ers are having Harden issues. They're having all sorts of major issues. They're getting investigated by the NBA. A lot of issues going on there. And then you got the Knicks. The Knicks look good on paper, but then they end up flopping. You got the Nets, who are basically in a rebuild. But you did have Ben Simmons go off for 4 points, 9 assists, and 10 rebounds on opening night. So there's that. And then you have the wild card that is the Toronto Raptors. That could be sneaky good. Sorry, they could be really sneaky good this year. But there won't be enough to overthrow Boston. Boston definitely is going to win the Atlantic and take over at least the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference Finals. In the Central, you got the Bucks, and like I said, you got Dame Dollar, and I project they're going to win at least 60 wins and get that 1 seed. Milwaukee has added point guard a Hall of Fame point guard, and his name wasn't Chris Paul. So that's a plus. Because I really think that any team that has Chris Paul, I think they're like, oh yeah, this is going to be really good. We're going to be really good. We got Chris Paul. We got the floor general on our team. And then they just come out and crap the bed. So I don't think Dame Dollar is definitely a different. It's finally good to get him on a winning team. So who we got? We got Cleveland as well. They're going to finish second. You got the Pacers third. You got the Bulls and Pistons basically fighting for last place. The Cavs are going to get at least the 3 seed. I feel like the Cavs can get the 3 seed. I think they can win enough games to get that 3 seed. I just don't see any other team out in the East getting that third seed. I don't even think Miami or the Southeast winner is going to get that third seed. I think the Cavs can do it by getting about 50, 51 wins a game, especially when you got Donovan Mitchell over there. And they outplayed their expectations last year, and I think they continue to outplay their expectations this year as well. And then the Pacers will be improved from last year as well. I think the Pacers can still make the playoffs, which we'll get to seedings here in a minute. Let's talk about the Bulls for a minute. The Chicago Bulls, 9 hours away from. Really think that Reinsdorf really needs to sell that team. They need to get somebody in there to actually that wants to run the team and actually put a winning product on the court. Besides still living off the 6 rings that Jordan won him in the 90s. They really haven't had a good team since Derrick Rose won the MVP back in, what was that, like 2013? And then he went out with an ACL injury. So I think the Bulls will finally end up doing a complete rebuild. They'll trade away Levine and Vucevic. And I think they also trade away DeRozan to a winner as well, maybe to the Clippers or someone who needs that extra star power coming off the bench. I think that's where it happens there. I think Billy Donovan, as much as I don't want to see him get fired from this gig because none of it's his fault, I do think Billy Donovan is let go at the end of the year. And then, like I said, we definitely need to get a new owner of the Chicago Bulls. Someone that's going to take the time, put some resources into the team rather than keep cashing those checks. And then you got the Pistons. Pistons are going to be struggling. They're going to probably need a couple more years before they're actually decent, before they're contending for a playoff spot. A couple more years of good drafting will go a long ways for them. Then in the Southeast, it's Atlanta and Miami that's going to battle for the first spot for the Southeast title. You got Jimmy Butler, Bam, and Kyrie coming off the finals appearance, which was an improbable run. 8th seed running and through it. They survived the in-play games. They survived the Bucks. They survived everybody, and then they end up getting blown out by the Nuggets in the finals. So I think they come back strong. They're all a year older. Maybe Tyler Hero doesn't go down with an injury, and that changes some things. But I think Atlanta is going to be improved this year. You still got still got that team up and coming. And I really think that Atlanta can, with their young guys, can really hold Miami's feet to the fire in that Southeast. And then you have, so basically that's about it. I mean, the rest of that Southeast division is garbage. Just saying. Charlotte's dismal. I mean, even LaMelo Ball, that's gonna be a tough pull for them to do anything. So, what do I got for places here? Shall we? Well, we got the Bucks, Celtics, 1 and 2, Cavs 3, Heat 4, 76ers are gonna be 5th, Hawks 6, Pacers 7, Raptors 8, Wizards 9, Magic 10. That's the placement I have for that. And I really think that the Magic and Wizards will make the 9 and 10 spot just because of who else is in the East. I mean, when you got 10 teams making the playoffs, and you only got 15 in a division, or 15 in a conference, 5 teams aren't making the playoffs. Okay, so let's get over to my Eastern Conference Finals is between the Bucks and Boston, of course. And then the Bucks are obviously going to go to the finals. Jaylen Brown, I don't think he's worth $300 million, but that's what they paid him. Over in the Western Conference, now this is going to be way harder. First of all, you have the NBA champion Denver Nuggets looking to hold on to their title and looking like they could. Then you have Doncic and Kyrie getting an offseason together to work out together. You got Memphis without Ja Morant for now, but he is going to be back after a suspension. And then this thing's really top heavy with contenders of the Nuggets, Suns. You got the the Warriors with a healthy Draymond Green. You got the Clippers if they stay healthy. You got Sacramento, what Sacramento did. Surprised everybody last year. Then the up-and-comers are going to be the Thunder, the Jazz, the Pelicans, with the healthy Zion. And then I don't think the Lakers make the playoffs this year. I really don't. I think the Lakers, Spurs, Rockets, Portland all miss out. But the wild card is Minnesota. Whether that team can get their head out of their wazoos or not, that's going to be the case. So what do we got here for a breakdown? Well, in the Northwest, we got Denver winning it, and then they'll get the 1 seed. Then you got Minnesota and OKC as the 2 or 3. Those are flip-floppable. Utah will get the 4th seed, Portland the 5th. All right. In the Southwest, you got Dallas getting the 1, Memphis the 2, New Orleans the 3, San Antonio the 4, and Houston 5. Then the Pacific Division, which by far the toughest division in all of basketball. You got the Clippers, the Kings, the Suns, the Warriors, and the Lakers. All in that order. I think the Clippers stay healthy, and I'm not being a homer on this. I really think with Kyrie, Paul George, Westbrook all being healthy, the Clippers can win the Pacific and get the 2 seed, if not a 1 seed. The Kings, I think they finish ahead of the Suns. The Suns have Booker, Beal, Durant, right? So with that being the case, they traded away DeAndre Ayton, so they really don't have a guy in the middle. Like, they're basically working on the outside in. They're going to be shooting a lot of threes, and I don't think, as much as I crap on Chris Paul sometimes, he really did set that team apart. So the Warriors, it's going to be tough for them unless Draymond Green steps up, but they're all older. It's going to be shooting a lot of threes. They play defense down the stretch, and the Lakers, I'm sorry, but you guys just aren't going to do what you guys think you're going to do with LeBron and AD. I think Christian Wood is going to be a good player for that Lakers team as well. So, where we got for the playoffs wise? Well, we got the number 1 seed, Denver Nuggets. Number 2, Clippers. Number 3, Dallas. Number 4, Kings. Number 5, Suns. 6 is the Warriors. 7, Minnesota. 8, Oklahoma City. 9, Memphis. And 10, New Orleans. I put Memphis that low because they don't have a defensive stopper like Dillon Brooks anymore. Ja Morant's missing 25 games. But my Western Conference Finals is going to be Denver and Dallas, with Denver winning it. So then you got the finals of Denver-Milwaukee, battle of the 2021 and the 2023 champs. And I think Milwaukee comes out on top due to the X factors of Bobby Portis, the length of the Lopez brothers, and they got Cam Payne as well. This can play. The team can play, and they're very deep. And I know with the Nuggets that they're the Nuggets, but it's going to be tough for them to repeat, I think. So there's the quick little preview of the NBA season. I think I'm going to dive deeper into it throughout the year. We'll touch base on the season as we go, of course, because we got dunks in our title, baby. But it is the exciting part of the day for me, Football Friday, and a few things first. Iowa got screwed. I don't know how you call that a fair catch. Wasn't called a fair catch on the field. Wasn't called a fair catch anywhere. If it was a fair catch and he illegally moved it forward, there should have been a flag. There wasn't. And the only reason why they reviewed that play in the first place is because he scored. It was a scoring incident. If he steps out at the 1, as my buddy Spencer has said, they don't review that play, which is very true. So, yeah, Iowa getting screwed was not on the game plan. Hey, on a personal note, UNLV is going bowling for the first time since 2015 after they beat Colorado State last week and come from behind fashion. And if you don't have the Mountain West Conference app, you need to download it and you need to watch the Mountain West Conference football. It's pretty amazing. So let's get into the college football games this week. We got Georgia versus Florida at Florida. Georgia is my upset pick of the week. I think Florida can upset Georgia. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me how. It doesn't make sense. But I think it can happen. All right. You also have number 8 Oregon versus number 13 Utah. Utes at home. Give me the Utes. Number 20 Duke versus number 18 Louisville at Louisville. Give me Duke. Colorado is back this week against number 23 UCLA. Give me the Buffs off a 29-point loss or a blown 29-point lead, and then went to the bye week. And I bet you they didn't have a fun bye week. And then a game that could decide one of the two teams in the Mountain West Conference Championship game, UNLV versus Fresno State. Pat Hill Day. But the Bulldogs are going to get kenneled, and the Rebels are going to win and continue a magical year. So far, the Rebels' only loss this year was a 31-point loss to Michigan at the Big House. So those are college football, there's not really... I looked, and there's not like a whole lot of premier games out this week. I mean, you got Penn State, Indiana. You got Nebraska, I think, playing Purdue or something like that. Like, there's not really any really good games that are out there. So these were the best that I could find. And obviously I threw in the UNLV one. So obviously. So now let's get into our NFL picks for the week. Last week we did a horrible job. We definitely lost a lot because I don't know why. We did not do very well. First of all, the surprise team to win was the Minnesota Vikings over the San Francisco 49ers. So that was fun. I had the Niners, obviously. Who wouldn't have the Niners? The other was, who would have thought the Lions wouldn't show up at all and just get blown out by the Ravens 38-6? Obviously, I had the Lions in that one. And then you have the Raiders and Bears. And why are the Raiders starting Brian Hoyer, for crying out loud? So, a couple bad moves there, and here we are. And then the Commanders and Giants scored 21 points combined. That was a good game, too. And then the Bills losing to the Patriots. Wow. Another stellar job there. I don't know if it's the Bills playing down their competition or what, but the Bills need to get something right. So, let's start with this week's picks. All right. Again, we're not doing the Thursday night game because by the time this is already done, that game's already over with, and I can't predict the future, but I'm pretty sure I think the Bills win. Just saying. All right. Then you got a really good Sunday matchup, I think, is LA Rams going to Dallas Cowboys, the owner of the most expensive stadium versus the owner of the second most expensive football stadium ever built, go toe-to-toe at AT&T Stadium. Give me the boys. Packers, Vikings up in Lambeau. Vikings. The Packers are horrible. Oh my gosh, are they horrible. Like, I don't even know how they won 2 games. Like, they're that bad. Jordan Love is horrendous. Atlanta Falcons, next up, Atlanta and Tennessee. Now, if Tennessee loses this game, I have a sense that they're going to sell. That they're going to go into sell mode and trade away Derrick Henry and trade away DeAndre Hopkins and trade away some other guys. They already traded a defensive player to one of their, I think it Bard to the Eagles. So I think they definitely go into sell mode if they lose this game. The Falcons are just sneaky good this year. Like, I don't even think Arthur Smith knows what Arthur Smith is doing as the head coach, but they're winning. So give me the Falcons. Next up, you got the Saints Colts. Give me the Colts. Gardner Minshew the third over Derek Carr any day of the week. Next up, you got the Patriots Dolphins. Dolphins bounce back for a win here. Mac Jones got lucky. That's all I can figure out. And then you got the battle of the Meadowlands between the Jets and the Giants. Give me the Jets. Even though Tyrod Taylor protects the ball, I don't think they score more than 10 points against this Jets defense, though. Because the Jets defense, even though they have Zach Wilson as a quarterback, the Jets defense still does wonders. You got the Jaguars and the Steelers. I'm going with the Steelers. The Steelers are just hot right now. Mike Tomlin, I don't know what he did, but he flipped a switch, and that team, Kenny Pickett, is being fantastic right now. And then you got the Eagles Commanders. This one's a tough one because the Commanders always play the Eagles tough, but I think the Eagles do win. And then you got CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young in the Texans-Panthers game this week. Panthers going to go 0-7 because the Houston Texans are going to get the win. After that, you got the Cleveland Browns versus the Seattle Seahawks. I'm sticking with the Browns going to Seattle and winning this game. I think Geno Smith doesn't do well against Myles Garrett in that defense. Next up, you got the Chiefs and Broncos up in Mile High, and you got the Chiefs winning. Then you got the Ravens, Cardinals, Battle of the Birds. Ravens going to Arizona and win. Next up, you got the Bengals, Niners at Levi Stadium, and we're going Niners over the Bengals here. Niners bounce back from that loss to the Vikings. And then you got a couple really good primetime games this week. Wow, they picked some great ones. We got the 2-4 Chargers versus the 2-5 Bears. Justin Fields is not playing for the Bears again this week, and Justin Herbert's looked abysmal this year. But we're going Chargers at home at SoFi against the Bears. All right, and then Monday night matchup is the Raiders versus the Lions. Are the Raiders going to have Jimmy G or probably not? Are they going to play Aiden O'Connell? Probably not, because they'll probably roll up Brian Hoyer again because Josh McDaniels doesn't know what he's doing. So I think the Lions bounce back from their horrible loss against the Ravens and smother the Raiders this week. I think they probably beat them like 34-18 or something crazy like that. So there you have it. There's this week's matchups. Primetime games not very well. Hey, this is a fun time of the year, boys and girls. We got hockey going right now, which we don't really cover on this show because I know nothing about hockey, even though my favorite team is the Vegas Golden Knights. Just saying. We got basketball starting up, baseball World Series. We're getting into the prime college football season and prime NFL season with those November games. And it's supposed to snow this weekend in Iowa, so I'm not looking forward to that. So stay inside, watch some games, and hopefully you win your bets this week. As always, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate every one of you. Oh, also, you can follow us. You can listen to this on the YouTube channel as well. One Guy with a Mic YouTube. Go there and you can listen to this show on there as well, so you don't have to. So you can watch it from your desktop now. So let's get that up. Also, we are now a Twitch affiliate as well, so you can sub to my channel there, help promote the streaming, help promote the podcast. Any money earned, as always, for either goes back into the content that we create here at One Guy with a Mic. Dingers and dunks, baby. Have a great night. And